Hello. Okay, so I need your help because I had probably haven't seen you in about a year and a half, and since then my skin is starting to look a little a little sad,
Okay.
which is unfortunate because when I first came to you a few years ago, it was like this, but about I don't know. You probably remember now. It's probably like double what's going
Yeah,
on
it
now.
was, yeah, you had more going on before. It was more red and inflammatory and more angry before.
It would feel like it was alive on top of the skin. And then I completely got cleared up there. And then I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the city pollution, if it's makeup products or just hormones or what I'm eating. But this has been what's been going on. And I think after having gone through that whole process of getting my skin clear to now having it, freak out again, I'm grateful that you're accessible through Zoom.
Yeah, of
So
course. Thank you. To backtrack with what you said, it's all of those things. There's never just one thing. And it's much easier to be able to be like, okay, let's go through food and diet and health and stress and makeup and topical home care. And like, you know what I mean? It's all of it combined. It's like the perfect storm of things. How long has it been broken out? So let's start to backtrack that.
my skin actually started breaking out about a year ago. And then it would just go in waves where it has never been fully clear like it was the last time I was in Los Angeles,
Okay.
but it'll go from waves of being, broken out heavily like now to just being mostly in the chin, sort of, hormonal acne area.
Okay. So when you were clear using the pads and the benzyl and all that, and we'll talk about that, at what point did you stop and at what point did it start breaking out again? Or did you not stop? I don't even know.
I
I just
did
make that
stop.
assumption.
Yeah, I was unemployed for a minute. No, I did stop for a little bit around probably the end of summer last, so about a year ago, I would say.
Okay.
And then um, that's when my skin started breaking out. I would say about August, September of last year.
Okay. And then I sent the product to you last week,
You did.
restock it. Have you started it yet?
Now I wanted to wait until I got this,
The consultation.
consultation.
Okay. So skin has memory. So that it's muscle, right? So it will get clear again for sure, but quicker this time because it
Great.
knows it, right? And without getting into too much detail from the initial consultation we did years ago, I'd rather make this more about how do you get back into it once you've already been involved. You have to start slowly reintroducing the product. Otherwise, it's just going to burn because most people will go back into it like, oh, I've done this before. But okay, so remind me, you have a cleanser, you have the pads, you have the benzyl, and you have a moisturizer. Okay, you have it. Okay.
Benzoyl and yeah, the pads.
Okay.
So that all.
Okay, I'm going to oversimplify by saying, without getting into the science behind it, you're probably more oily today than you were a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because what happens is, I guess this is not, I don't want to take too much time into going into the details, but skin naturally, you shed a layer and it rebuilds, and you shed a layer and it rebuilds, and it kind of does this nice little, that's normal, healthy skin that doesn't break out, generally speaking. Genetics is the number one reason you break out. Then comes the hormones and the stress and the diet and all that other stuff. But in your case now, what's happening is your skin, when it's oilier, it gets sticky. It's not shedding properly. So it's sticking up. It's basically getting thicker, right? And so when you wash your face or when you feel it, you're feeling all the little comedones, little blackheads, little bumps all over. And the longer those stay in there and the thicker the skin gets, more oily the skin gets, the more likely you'll break out. Does that make sense? So like you're feeling all these little tiny breakouts underneath skin cells that are not falling off. That makes sense? So if you took anything away from this, it's you have to make your skin just a little drier. Most facialists won't tell you that. Like, I'm trying to irritate your skin a little bit. It's almost like, you know how Accutane, if you take Accutane, it makes you really, really, really dry. right? Because it's pumping tons of vitamin A in you, and we'll get into that later if we do. But basically what's happening is your skin is dehydrating, so the cells are ungluing and falling off, and we're trying to stimulate movement. So the more dead skin that sloughs off, it'll be, for lack of a better way of saying, thinner but healthier, and you're less likely to break out. So that's the goal. The goal is to make you a little drier. Like, it's to make the skin move. Sorry?
Genetics part makes sense too, because my mom had the same problem and she had to take Accutane. So,
yeah. And some people are like, well, my mom and dad didn't break out, so that can't be the case. I'm like, yeah, but your mom's mom's mom. You know, it's somewhere in the lineage. You can't have acne without the genetic makeup to have that. It's like blue eyes. It's just what was meant for you, which sucks, but it's just the way it is. So, in your case, let's say you used to break out, then you got clear, and then it started breaking out again. Okay. So now you have the product. So the green facial shampoo I chose for you based on the fact that you were a little bit more oily, but you didn't want to dry your skin too much, right? Because you're in New York, right? And winter's coming soon. So it's more of a combination skin. It's a gel, it lathers, but makes you feel very clean and tight without overdrawing. In the morning, you'll wash your face. And I think I wrote instructions too, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you'll get instructions, but basically you wash your face in the morning. You'll take an ice cube, which is a pain in the butt, and just ice your face. And icing basically reduces redness and inflammation, similar to like a sports injury. If you put ice on something, the thing is you just don't want to hold it in one spot for a long period of time. The biggest benefit for you specifically is the more inflammatory breakouts, the ones that are red or the painful ones. It's going to make those kind of settle a little bit. So you'd ice, pat the skin dry, and you have a moisturizer or sunscreen or both?
I have a moisturizer.
Okay. I would say just use the moisturizer where you need it.
Okay.
Because the goal right now is to kind of make your skin just a little tighter, right? So like for me, I'm 50. So my skin used to be so oily that I'd wash my face and 5 minutes later, I'd be grease ball again. I'm starting to get into more of the drier skin just because of age. It just starts to dry out a little bit. My eyes and my mouth corners are the only areas that get dry now. So I only put moisturizer here and here because in 5 or 10 minutes, I'll get a little bit more oily naturally. And in your case, because this is your zone, right, where you're breaking out the most, I'd prefer you not have moisturizer here. So a little bit here, a little bit here. Sunscreen 20 minutes before you go outdoors, and reapplying every hour or two, depending on it, if you're in the sun.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Now let's talk makeup. You were going to ask me questions about makeup.
Yes. So there's two sides of the makeup situation, right? I bought the makeup and I brought examples because this is what I've been using. I have the Makeup Forever. It's a powder foundation, and then the Ilia serum. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I'm almost suspicious that it's this primer. It's a collagen primer. And I'm almost suspicious that this might have broken me out as well. So I'm curious. I know. I'm curious on your.
Yeah, because we were talking a little bit before this, and we were talking about ingredients and stuff. Like I try not to take too much time in memorizing what's good and what's bad, but I kind of go a little bit more with common sense, right? So with the primer, right, if you put it on your back of your hand and rinse it under water and try to wash it off, does it come off easily? Primers generally have that really awesome, right? Because it makes you look really good with makeup, right? But it doesn't wash off very easily. So I imagine that's probably going to be harder to take off your skin, and it has this adhesive quality to it that might break you out just because it adheres so tightly. That's just, I mean, I could be making that up, but I just rather think of it that way, right? Now, if you have an event to go to, who cares, right? Put a little makeup in the areas that you need it to cover. A trick I learned with powders don't generally break you out because they're not sticking quite the same, but you can put a sponge, like get a sponge wet, dip it in a powder, and you'll get better coverage that way.
Oh.
That won't break you out as much.
Yeah.
If I had a big event to go to and I was broken out, which has happened in my past, so I would put a super light thin coat, and if it's at night, I put a light thin coat of benzoyl peroxide. Then I'll put the makeup on top of it, because in my mind, again, it's the common sense thing. I don't know, but I know it's less likely to break me out if there's a barrier of benzoyl peroxide protecting it touching my skin. And then as soon as I'm done with the event, I wash it off. Because my concern with not wearing makeup, because you'll go places, they're like, don't wear makeup, it'll break you out. But I know when I was younger and insecure and I had tons of acne, not wearing makeup would stress me out. Everybody's looking at my skin. That stress is going to break me out more. So I would rather you just do what it takes to kind of put a little cover up, do what you ever you have to do powder, right? And just make it look good enough that you feel confident. And then let's focus on getting you clear. So it's rather than go through the ingredient list. And if you have a feeling that's breaking you out, don't use that. Use something that's a different coverage, but might cover, if not the same, just as good.
Yeah.
Because the focus, I would rather you spend less time worrying about the makeup and more on clearing the acne. And it really doesn't take that long if you're doing it right or asking the right people or using the right product. It's just, I don't like kind of doing something. I like it done yesterday.
In the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And acne is tough. Acne is a tough thing. It doesn't go away overnight, but you can definitely see a difference quickly if you know what you're doing. And again, if the bottom line is I need to feel a little tight and a little dry, if you keep that in mind, you're more guaranteed to clear. That makes sense?
It does make sense. And so when I put on makeup, for example, and put on a little benzoyl, is moisturizer something that is helpful at all as well? Or is that something that should be avoided when wearing makeup?
It'll make the makeup look better.
Okay. Got it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do what you have to do and don't stress over it. That's the least thing I want you to do is stress, right? So I would just do what you have to do to feel good and confident and feel good that night, and then wash it off when you get home, and then do whatever you need to do to clear the acne.
That's so helpful, because I feel like a lot of the things that you were saying for helping my skin right now is the antithesis to what you find on the internet, right? Like if I were to go on TikTok and listen to everyone's skincare advice, it's always things like don't wash your face, or no one would ever have said what you have told me about the science behind how my skin needs to shed itself right now. Mm-hmm. And I think when I'm looking at what everyone's trying to tell me what to do, it's just to keep applying more and more stuff, which is like any other illness, right? If we keep taking a bunch of pills, it's just gonna,
you'll go down a rabbit hole. It's like I have this love and hate fascination, because sometimes it gives you really good advice, but other times you're just like, you don't know what to believe. That's why I lean on just don't think about it and use common sense, or try to, right? So I much rather you just be cleaner on the whole than have to use a ton of product. Even if it's my product, I still don't like a lot of it, right? I'd rather you just be clean. Just wash your face. That's the best thing, right? And then icing is free, and you can do that anywhere. But I feel like less is always better, because if you start to compound lots of different things and you're grasping at so many, you don't know what's clearing you and what isn't clearing you. So I try to take everything out of the equation and then introduce slowly. That's why, to get back to what your home care is, you have to kind of slowly get back into it, because it will dry you out. And that's a good thing, but you don't want to go too quickly. You want that, but you want it to feel like, right after you wash your face, it feels a little tight.
Yeah.
That's how I want it to feel. Okay. And then slowly, the more dead skin cells that detach, come off, makes your skin thinner and healthier, right? What it will also do is the more dead skin that sloughs off, you're not going to see a skin cell sloughing off, right? Because it's microscopic. But if it feels tight, that's what's happening. That's an indication that your skin is a little drier, is you feel tight. Skin cells are falling off, and any of those red marks or discoloration that you have from residual breakouts, like you could have had a breakout right here from 2 months ago that's like still red. But the more dead skin that sloughs off, you're essentially peeling off the red part of the scarring that's in the surface of the skin. And just over time, that mark will fade faster the more dead skin you slough off. It's not like that mark goes down to the blood layer. It's you know what I mean? So it's just moving. And your skin
Yes.
is naturally going to build underneath. It's just going to slow down as you get older, but it still does it.
It's great to know. I was been thinking about you so much when I've had this breakout because it's been whiteheads too, right? And I remember you always telling me, do not pick at your skin, do not touch your skin. And it's so hard because it's like right in your face. But I mean, speaking of the scarring, it's something that I want to try and avoid.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to avoid it, right? You've got the pads, which is an acid, has salicylic and glycolic acid, and then you have a benzoyl peroxide. And the reason I chose those two different things, acids detach cells. That's what's giving. So by default, it's peeling you, but what it's really doing is it's ungluing skin cells and moving. So that's what's great about acids. And it makes your skin do that thing I was telling you about, right? Making it thinner and healthier. And it gets rid of discoloration and scarring and all that stuff. But it doesn't kill bacteria that causes the breakouts. So acids are great, but it doesn't prevent new breakouts, other than the fact that your skin is thinner and healthier and less likely to break out, but it doesn't kill bacteria. That's where you need this side of the thing, where it's benzoyl peroxide or resorcinol or sulfur. Those are acne medications. And just the acne medication alone won't work very well if your skin's really thick, right? So if you get the right type of acid and the right type of acne medication and using it correctly, not too often, not too little, and using the right amount. And that's what you and I will talk about, because everybody's skin is different. It's always based on the individual and their lifestyle. But if you get the right combination of both, you're set. It's just figuring out which and how often and how much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I was just going to say, I'm living in the city, I live in Brooklyn, so I'm constantly walking through pollution.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the best method right now for me with the correction pads and the benzoyl?
What did I do? This is me in technology. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's so funny. I live in Brooklyn,
right?
Pollution everywhere, and I feel that. I feel it in the air. And so with that being said, to not overdo it, but to make sure I get the right amount, what would be your recommendation as far as how often for the corrective pads and benzoyl?
Okay. It has less to do with the outside circumstances and more to do with the inside circumstances, meaning the best way to know how much product to use is to determine how dry or not dry you are. So in the morning when you wash your face, how long does it take before you start getting oily?
I'd say within an hour.
Okay. So you're more combo to oily. You're more on the oilier side. Now, it's a safer bet because remember, like this cleanser, because it's a gel base and it's meant for combination skin, it's not medicated, but it makes you feel very clean. So the combination of doing that 2 to 3 times a day, especially if you're exercising, I want you to wash after that, and icing, reintroducing ice to your skin, which is a natural exfoliant. It's like a freezer burn, right? So cold, it's kind of killing the top layer of skin so that whatever product you put on next penetrates a little bit better. Just adding back in the gel cleanser and the ice, your skin is already being shocked and it will already start to dry. So I would still start you a little slower, and I'd want you to do morning is still the same. Cleanse, ice, put moisturizer, put sunscreen. Okay. Right? Nighttime, to start getting into it, cleanse, right? You wash your face, you always ice, pat the skin dry, and then put a little moisturizer where you need it. That's going to be almost every night, except Wednesdays, you'll do benzoyl peroxide. I don't have it in front of me, but pretend there's like a pea-size amount or a pencil eraser size, right? In my hand. Put it in your fingers, go like this and get messy with it. Always start on the forehead, even if you're not breaking out there, right? The skin is thicker here and can handle more. So pat a light thin coat and go outside first and then go in. It feels weird, but the reason you're doing it is the outside of your face is the thickest part of the face and the inside is thinner. All your eye corners, nose corners, and mouth corners are the thinnest parts of your face. That's why people get really, really dry here. And everything you do goes like this. You're making it worse by putting it in the center of your face. So I'm saying go opposite and work your way in. And if you're only using a pea size amount, you're getting the breakouts that you have and preventing new ones if you do a light thin coat all over without burning. Because a lot of people, and this is, by a lot of people, I mean me, when I had really bad acne, I'll give you an example. Like I have a mole right here, but pretend that's a zit. I would be like, oh my God, I have a zit. And I'd put that pea size amount right here only. And it was cool because I burned it and the zit went away, but I also burned the skin tissue, which left a red mark because I burned the skin. So then you're dealing with all these red marks and scabs and scars. That was actually a user error thing. So if you just trust the process and do a super light thin coat of the benzoyl peroxide 1 time a week on Wednesdays to start off, your skin, it'll kill the bacteria and prevent new ones without ever burning the ones you currently have. And you're doing a thin coat, so it's preventative. So that would be on Wednesdays. And then on Sundays, you'll do the pads. Again, same way, forehead, outside in. And when you're almost done, just kind of sweep it through your nose and your hair. And then that way you're getting once a week of killing bacteria and then once a week of detaching skin cells and moving the skin. More of like a little peel.
So should I start then with the benzoyl since I haven't started the routine yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Then you're still doing the cleanse and the ice and the little moisturizer on the other nights, right? So that way it's like a nice, consistent, after about a week, you're going to be like, oh, this is good. Like I'm feeling a difference. They're not as angry. Everything is kind of flattening. I feel a little tighter, but I can handle more. Then your next step, I'm looking at the time, we've got 5 minutes. Then the next step is going to be one day you'll do benzoyl, one day you'll take a day off. One day you'll do pads, one day you'll do take off. So it'll be benzoyl off, pad off, benzoyl off, pad off, and kind of go in that cycle. Because I'm constantly trying to irritate just a little bit. And it's the shock that's clearing your skin.
Okay.
Then after 2, 3, 4 weeks, I don't know. We won't know until that time, but you're going to be like, this is even better. My skin's feeling great. I'm starting to clear. I can go stronger. I'm not that dry anymore because your skin's going to acclimate to it eventually. It's like picking up a 5-pound weight after a while isn't that heavy. You got to go to 7 pound to make a difference. It's like you're constantly challenging it. I think that's where most people go wrong with the acne thing. They try something new and they're like, this is great. It's working. And then it kind of plateaus. That's the nature of what this stuff is meant to do, right? You have to shock it by constantly just either adding something new or challenging it in a way by adding more coats or more often, or just changing something to irritate it a little. So after the benzoyl night off, pad night off, okay, take those nights off out. Do benzoyl one night, pad one night, benzoyl one night, pad. Then you can always layer it. I won't get into like how many different levels we can do, but we have to get you to a point once your acne is gone, right? And it will over time. Then it's just going to be about like superficial little marks that you've had from old stuff. And I've got tons of like before and afters of you from years ago, right? So those will go away, the more movement, the more dead skin, and the constant use of product. And it's more about home. 80% of this is home care. Every once in a while, it's good to get a cleaning and a light peel to kind of make the process faster, but it's the home care that does the work. I make a joke. It's kind of like you go to a dentist twice a year to get cleaned. But can you imagine if you didn't brush your teeth at home, what those dentist visits would be like? So it's like you have to take better care of your skin at home, eat healthy, drink your water, get enough sleep, because all that matters. That's more important. Just washing your face is more important than getting a facial, even though that's what I do. Like it's important, but not nearly as important as how well you take care of yourself at home. That's why I think the virtual stuff is more important, and shipping product, and you take care of it. And if you need help, I'm here, kind of thing.
Which I appreciate so much, because it's always this educational part that stumps me, because like I told you, we just talked about it. There's so much information in the world, but to be able to have the explanation of what it is that I'm personally going through, these experiences are so individualized, even though the processes aren't that different to clear it. So I'm just so grateful that you take the time to explain it so thoroughly for
Of
me.
course. Thank you. I mean, that's what cleared me. So like when the woman told me like how to do it and I'm like, God, why did I go through life struggling? And I was on Accutane twice. And like I did the whole, like if I had known, I'm like, it's really kind of just simple, but nobody like took the time and explain it. And to be fair, maybe they didn't know,
Right.
maybe they didn't know how to do it. So I think it's just a matter of understanding it. I always say, like when people come in for consultations, I'm like, if you understand what's causing the breakouts, it's so much easier to clear because anyone can say, here, buy this and try this on, put this on. If you don't understand what this is or how to use it, what's the point? It's kind of a waste of money because you can use everything incorrectly. Like the perfect product will burn you if you overuse it. So I think the education part was for me like, oh, that makes complete sense. That's, I think, the most important part. So thanks for mentioning that.
Of course. I almost think that we need to have another call one day where you tell your story more because now I have so many questions about your experiences now, but we have literally 1 minute left.
Yep.
So maybe once I'm all cleared up, we'll have to do like a recap where, we see how I got all cleared up, but I also really want to hear.
And thank you, by the way, because you shared the photos. So maybe we can use those too. It's like how, like the timing of everything. So you and I will connect. We'll connect and we'll update the home care routine. And if you have questions, you can let me know.
Well, I'll just keep you posted on the process along the way. I'll send you photos and we'll just have a back and forth.
That'd be fun.
I'll make
Okay. Thank you. And I will obviously call you after this.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye.